So you're experiencing these symptoms, you're concerned about these intrusive thoughts, you're experiencing these feelings of unreality, and you're asking yourself, am I ever going to be able to get out of this? Is this something that I'm always going to have to deal with? Is this always something I'm going to have to manage or cope with? And even if I do get out, how does that process look like? So many people don't know how recovery looks like. They think recovery is just something happens instantaneously, or that it's linear where days just get better and better and better. The truth is none of that's really true. But recovery is possible, but it's not what you think. And it's actually not as glorious as you would imagine. You would think that once you recover, you would be telling the world about it and you would be ecstatic. Recovery is very, very, very different. And the point of this video is I really want to break down how recovery really is so that you can set proper expectations. Look, at the end, it's all good news. You can get out of it. And by the end of the video, I'll show you exactly how the process looks and what to focus on. But more importantly, I want to show you how the recovery journey is so that you can set proper expectations and, more importantly, not sabotage your own recovery. So pay attention. So recovery is an up and down affair. I say it in every video. It feels like it's 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. It feels like it's up and down, but the truth is that when you kind of zoom out, it's up and down, but it's going upward. And because it goes up and down, it's kind of hard to adjust if you're making progress or not. It's hard to even know if you're making progress or not. Because it's so up and down, it's really kind of unclear. But I've talked about that in previous videos. I want to go a little bit deeper into that. Besides the fact that recovery is kind of an up and down affair, the truth is that with recovery, there's no finish line. See, you would think you fell into this, that was the beginning, so there will be an end. And then once there's an end, you're out. That's kind of true, but recovery isn't a finish line, right? It's not black or white. It's not like one day you're still, you're recovering and the next day you're recovered. It's more of a gradient. It's like, it's just more gray. It's just like things just get better and better and better slowly, and you kind of forget about it. You don't really care too much about recovery. And so most people, when they want to recover, when they're having these physical symptoms that convince them there's something seriously wrong, if they have these intrusive thoughts that scare them, they're hoping that these things will be gone. And then once these things are gone, then you can go back to living and you'll never have to deal with this again. It's almost like you conquer your symptoms. You don't really conquer the symptoms. The symptoms do go away though, but it's like I say, it's not a finish line. It's more like a gradient. Recovery in itself is more of a process. And here's how the process looks. These symptoms are really scary, and it's very easy to think that there's something else. It's something besides anxiety. It's something more scarier than anxiety. Once you come to terms with the fact that it's anxiety, then what happens is that you look at the symptoms as an offset of anxiety. So you focus on the anxiety, and you focus on responding correctly. And so if you really want to know how do I even respond correctly, like how do I even know whether it's anxiety or not, what I'll do is I'll put a link down below. This is a link to a private report. I've essentially listed it out. I've wrote it out step by step, how to really overcome this long term. And the reason why I don't really talk about it in this video is because explaining it via video form is a little bit harder. I'd rather have it laid out for you written wise so that you can read it constantly. You can reread it and you can kind of understand it. And it kind of breaks down the steps a little bit closer. Plus the steps are a little bit more, going into it in each video would take a lot of time. And just for the sake of time, I've written it out for you. The link is down below. The report is absolutely free. I'm not charging for this report. I'm just giving it out because, look, you're struggling. I was struggling. The reason why I struggled was because there was a lot of misinformation. And if somebody who had just recovered would have just shown me a little bit about what was happening, it would have eased a lot of suffering. It would have eased a lot of battling with myself trying to figure out what's happening. And so at least just understanding what happens is a good start. So that report is down there below. It's absolutely yours. It's absolutely free. Reread it multiple times and really understand the mechanics of anxiety and what's really happening. So back to exactly how recovery looks like. So you start responding with the anxiety. You start responding to the anxiety correctly. You Respond correctly, and then what happens is that these symptoms that were so detrimental, that was so scary to you, all of a sudden they're not as scary anymore. Because you kind of know that nothing bad ever happens. You've already gone to your doctor, you've gotten everything ruled out, and you're responding correctly, which means you're kind of allowing the symptoms to be there and nothing bad is happening. So even though these symptoms suck, you kind of stop caring about the symptoms. And so ironically, what happens is the second you stop really caring about the symptoms, they're still there. They don't go away. But what happens is that because they're not as important to you, when they start disappearing, it's not a big deal. So think about it this way, right? You have these symptoms, let's say you have palpitations, and they're absolutely terrifying. Now, once you learn that the palpitations is just an offset of anxiety, it's just excess adrenaline being produced by your sensitized nerves, and if you just give your nerves a chance to rest, the palpitations go away. Well, even when your heart does palpitate, it's not as scary. It's not as terrifying as it used to be. So you stop even caring whether you palpitate or not. Now, ironically, what happens is that it kind of goes away over time. But because it has no more value to you, it's not a big deal that it's leaving. And this is the major disconnect. Most people want the palpitations to go away while they think it's super scary. But the truth is that there's an intermediary step. It's very scary, the palpitations, but then you learn it's just an offset of anxiety and there's nothing to be scared of. Then the symptoms go away. How ironic is that? And so it kind of comes with the idea that we tend to value things more when we're scared of it. And so when you're experiencing these symptoms, you really want them to go away. You really are doing whatever you can to make these symptoms go away once and for all. But like when you know that it's anxiety and when you're focusing on the right steps, and when I'm guiding people step by step, they stop caring so much about these symptoms. And what happens is that when they stop caring about these symptoms so much, then the symptoms start going away. How ironic is that? It's like the more you want the symptoms to go away, the longer they'll last. The less you care, the more quicker it's going to go away. The example I like to give is this. Imagine you just got out of a relationship. Okay, you came out of a breakup and you loved this person. You wanted to be with this person forever. And so you break up with this person and your whole job, your whole feeling is, I want to get back with this person. I want to get back with this person. And so what happens is that you are trying to chase that person. You're trying to do nice things for them. If that person just knew how much I liked them, if they knew how much what I could do for them, all the things I care about for them, if I just showed them, well, then they would come back. Now, if you've tried this before, you'll know very quickly that doesn't work. In fact, when you do those things, it kind of creeps them out. It kind of repels them a little bit. They're like, why is this person doing so much? Like, it's kind of weird. It becomes a value thing. The person just feels more valuable and they feel more validated. So it's like, what's the point? And what happens, ironically, is that when these people kind of just accept that, the breakup has happened and they go on to living and they kind of accept it, well, what happens is that they start focusing on themselves. They start meeting really cool people. And what happens is that, ironically, the person that they broke up with starts coming back. Not all the time, obviously, but like a lot of times that's what happens. They see the other person's having fun and they want to be part of that. So the reason why I'm bringing this up, you're like, Shaan, why are you bringing this up? Is because anxiety recovery is kind of similar to that. It's like you want these symptoms to go away, so you're trying to fight it. And if you're doing everything, and if you just bought this one supplement, or if you bought this one coping thing, or if you went to, one more, get assurances one more time, this would be it. But that never happens. And it's ironic when it's almost when you let it go and you just kind of accept it and you move on, then the symptoms go away. Anxiety recovery is like that. It's not like a relationship where it's like, okay, if I chase it, it comes, that person will come back. And a lot of times that's the more logical way of looking at it. And that's kind of how we've been taught by society. But anxiety doesn't work that way. It's the total opposite. And so one of the things about recovery is that when recovery happens, it's not that glorious because the symptoms don't matter. It's almost like even if the symptoms came back, they're not a big deal. You can still do everything. Everything's fine. Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of discomfort, but it doesn't ruin your day. And what that does is that gives your nervous system a chance to heal. Now, ironically, that attitude is what actually makes the symptoms go away once and for all. It's one of the most bizarre, ironic things. And if somebody would have just helped me understand this, well, that would have made sense during my recovery journey. So it's really important to understand that it's not some sort of conquest. It's not like some sort of victory that you have and then you announce it to the world, I've recovered. Everybody that I've helped recover, once they recover, they just go back to living. And they don't really talk about anxiety, and it's not a big subject. And before, when they were struggling with anxiety, all they could talk about was anxiety, but over time they stopped talking about it. What happens is that they start focusing on other things. And they just kind of noticed that anxiety was something, they fell into the trap. They understood how to get out. They got out, and they just move on. That's kind of how recovery is. And so if somebody would have just explained that to me, it would have put things in perspective a little bit more. So I really wanted to make this video and really help you understand this is how recovery is. But at the end, you still don't experience these symptoms. They all go away, and you go back to living. And it's not a big deal. Recovery isn't this massive thing you beat and conquer like what most people think. It's almost like you have to lose the battle to win the war. You have to stop fighting these symptoms, and when you do that, you win the war, which is these symptoms go away. So it's a very bizarre way of looking at recovery. And these are the small things I really focus on when I'm guiding people step by step to recovery. What I do is I have a mentorship program where I'm guiding people step by step, showing them how to get out of this. And the reason why I'm able to make these videos is because I'm working so closely with them. I know exactly what's keeping them up at night because I've been there. Not only have I not been there, I work with them very closely. And so my main focus is to get them out step by step and make sure this never becomes a problem again. So if you're trying to figure out how to get out of this and these things resonate with you, but you're trying to figure it out on your own, or worse, you're even on forums trying to figure this out, well then why don't we just do this together? Why don't I just take you by the hand? I'll take you to recovery myself. In fact, it's not going to be just me. I have a whole team now that's guiding people step by step. Now, this team isn't just some people that I put together. These people are some of the best in the world, in my opinion, and they're people that are just like you. They were experiencing it themselves. In fact, a lot of the team members were people that I personally helped overcome. And they were so great, and they were so good at recovery that I was like, hey, I need you on my team. Help me help other people recover. And so if you are trying to get out of this and you just want to streamline recovery, you just want to get out of this and go back to living, well then let's just do it together. I'll take you by the hand, take you to recovery, and you can stop trying to piecemeal these videos together. You can stop trying to figure things out. I could just show you exactly what to focus on, guide you, make sure myself that this goes away, and just go on to live. And that's it. And so if that's you, hit the link down below. That's a link to my mentorship program. When you hit the link, if the link still works, you'll see slots available. If the slots aren't available, that probably means we're booked up. But if the link still works below, that means we still have some availability. When you do that, there's an application form. And so fill out that application form, and that my team and I will review that application form together. And if you're a good fit and if you're somebody that we can genuinely help, well, we'll schedule a free strategy session with you, really kind of identify where your biggest roadblocks are. And if you're a good fit, I'll take you under my wing myself. And if not, that's totally fine too. So if that's you, hit the link down below and let's just do this together. Anyways, I hope this video helped a lot, and I'll see you guys in the next one.